Hello, my beautiful people. Welcome to your week ahead. Hello, my beautiful people. Welcome to your weekly general tarot scope with me, Raphael from Reydiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. Quick note, these readings are for everybody. These are the general energies, trends and themes for the week ahead, and they are all under my intuitive message for the week ahead. So before we start, as always, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance, and I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise and they help us all on our paths to our highest vibrational good. So before we even start with the intuitive message, before we're even getting into that, Venus is going direct. In fact, Venus is direct as this week starts. She is newly direct and will start to pick up steam from here on in, so we will all be very glad about that fact. I am pretty damn sure for everybody it matters as well. On the 3rd of February, let's say the 4th of February officially, Mercury will also be direct, which means all of the planets are direct. We have that forward momentum, and I kind of, at the moment, the way that I'm feeling this in my body, so I'm recording this on the 27th of February, right? Clearly the retrogrades are still in full force though. Right, all that said, Venus will go direct on the 29th of January, so let's say on the 30th really she'll be there doing her thing, right? Mercury, let's say on the 3rd or the 4th of February, will then be direct. So at the moment I'm recording this on the 27th of January, and this really kind of says to me that, like, the way that I'm feeling this energy specifically in my body, it's like I can feel this deep rumble and it kind of feels like it's coming up and then it's just gonna like flow out in like this really sort of big surge of energy. Now my advice to you would be not to just jump straight into it, not just to go, right, that's it, planets are direct, let's get straight into it. Take a moment to see what's happening at the point that both of these planets go direct. So like I said, like the 29th and the 30th of January, pay attention to what's happening for you around that time, right up to and including, let's say, the 5th or 6th of February. So as we get to the end of this week, then you will really start to understand the pace and the speed that you're going to be able to work out with everything. Obviously, both Mercury and Venus at this point are in the sign of Capricorn. So where does that sign, like what house does it occupy in your chart? You know, like, take a moment to think about that. What does Venus, you know, what two signs does Venus rule in your chart? Or what houses, should I say, and more importantly, what two houses does Mercury rule in your chart? This is going to give you a much clearer idea of how this might speak to you on a personal level. Now, my intuitive message this week, when I went into my intuition, was reality shifts and awareness bites. And it's really strange because in my mind's eye, what I saw was like, I was like watching a cartoon and I could see somebody holding a torch and they'd walked into this cave, and then instead of just seeing them walking through it, it was like I was watching the, you know, like the cave paintings and stuff. They all came to life and started doing stuff. And then as I turned around, all of these, like, reality itself had started to shift. And so what I got from this was reality shifts and awareness bites, right? So this suggests to me that this week there is going to be some deep personal realization that nobody else can give you. It will come from within, and it is going to be subjective for all of us, right? Now, this is basically saying, if you are ready, prepared, and able to get on board with yourself, not anybody else's timeline, not anybody else telling you what your purpose is or isn't, or any of that stuff. If you can get on board with your personal understanding of the dynamic shifts of energy that are taking place at this moment in time, you stand a much better chance of finding some semblance of sure footing and also happiness at this moment in time. For our destiny card, our overarching energy, trend or theme for the week ahead, we get the Hanged Man, right? So take it easy. Nothing rushed, nothing hurried. This is a time to take it literally patience, waiting, stillness. And the beauty of this is sometimes when you can take a moment, when you can take a breath, when you can take a moment to consider what's happening before you react, before you respond, you'll realize that the universe is lining up the dominoes in your favor anyway, right? And sometimes I say to people when this card shows up, what's the best way to get what you want? Do nothing.
Sorry,
and
could you say that again?
mind your business, Siri. What's the best way to get what you want? Literally, sometimes to do nothing and wait for it to come to you. That's the whole point of truly attracting things on that energetic level. This is a very spiritual card, and very often what it also talks to us about is really asking ourselves, where are we being too self-sacrificing, or where could we be more self-sacrificing? So there's a lot to think about with this Destiny card energy this week. There really is. For our direction energy, how might we look into this, right? Also, the interesting thing is, especially with what's happening on the wider world stage, I wonder if this is going to be some humanitarian effort that starts to come in. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. So for our direction, how do we use this? We've got the Seven of Cups. This is not a week to overindulge. I don't care what your vice is or isn't, whether it's sex, drugs, rock and roll, food, alcohol, whatever it is, right? This is not a week. Seven of Cups with the Hanged Man. This is not a week to overindulge. Whatever your vices may or may not be. You've got the Four of Pentacles here. Be careful with overspending, right? In fact, the message that runs through, and then you've got the Four of Wands. So you've got two fours here. Two fours represents insomnia. So this week, the thing that I really feel like we're all supposed to focus on, that we can pull out of that Hanged Man, is to take rest, right? And the reason I say this is the Seven of Cups, like I said, it speaks to not overdoing it or indulging. If there were ever a week for you to discover what moderation means for you, how that looks for you, is it cutting down and having less cigarettes this week? Is it cutting down and maybe having smaller portions when you're having your meals this week? Is it actually taking time to meditate, rather than just saying, oh, yes, I meditate. Do you though? Right, this is one of those weeks where showing up in the space and the time where nobody sees what you're doing, that's when it's important, right? What you do for show and what you tell people that you do is one thing. What you actually do in those silent, quiet moments behind the scenes, that is what counts. That is where the magic is going to happen. Now, that being said, you do have the Four of Wands here. I'm going to be really honest, because it falls on the Four of Cups and the Seven of Cups, and the Four of Pentacles and the Seven of Cups. There's a part of me that feels like this week there might be an invite to something. Somebody might say, oh, I'll come over. I almost get the feeling that you'll know when this invite is made, you'll know in your heart of hearts that this thing is likely to it's going to pull you off your track. It's going to pull you off of your diet. It's going to pull you off of your dry January. It's going to, if you're doing that or whatever, you will know when this invite is proposed to you. You'll know, if I go through with this, it's going to pull me off my path. Whether you do or don't go ahead with it is completely up to you. But this is one of those moments where you need to ask yourself, am I really showing up for me the way that I show up for others? Just putting it out there, don't shoot the messenger. On the wider world stage, this is going to be more to do with the banking sphere. I will say this, just because the planets they're changing direction, this is still not the time to be making any big financial investments. You can look, you can do the research, all of that sort of stuff. Yes, absolutely. I do feel like, though, this might be, certainly here in the UK, this might be some good news about the hospitality industry, though. Maybe this is some sort of a bailout. Maybe it's some sort of grant, some sort of loan. If that is the case, just because of what the planets are doing, even though they're about to go direct, and that is a good thing, and we'll feel that sort of surge of energy, I do want to say to you, if you are in some form of hospitality and you've got your own business, unless you absolutely have to, really think about what money you are or are not going to accept from the higher ups, because somewhere it's going to come back to bite you in the butt. This energy is way too shaky. For your insight cards, you have the King of Swords, you've got the Seven of Pentacles, and you've got the Ace of Cups. So the insight energy looks quite nice. Air sign male, Pisces, Air sign male, Aquarius, Gemini, or Libra may feature for you. And the insight energy, this is about what's coming in, what you might need to be aware of in case you miss it, or what you might need to be aware of that you're not, that could be going on behind the scenes. These two, the King of Swords and the Seven of Pentacles, that's a benefactor. That's somebody coming in that can help you, but this is going to be more on an interpersonal level rather than like an institutional level. So just keep that in mind. But this is somebody that could help you with your investments. With the Ace of Cups there, this could be next week, right? So this is likely to be at the end of the week, or the energy that's coming in or is going on in the background. You could get good information about an investment, about where to put your money, about how to increase your money or support your business. It's good information, but as Kelly Rosano often says, if it's good now, it will still be good then. You can wait a little, right? The message that runs through all of this, aside from moderation, is patience. This week you have to cultivate some sort of patience. Reality is shifting, right? Your awareness is going to start biting, and I think this is going to show us all where we should kind of be going, or where things actually are heading. I think this bodes very well for those of us on the ground, on the wider world stage. I think we're going to start to see some of this drive towards more equality, especially as the sun moves through Aquarius. I think we're going to see a lot of this drive towards equality that I talked about in the 2022 videos, when I talked about 6 leveling the playing field, right? We're going to start to see this stuff kick in from here on in, and it will be interesting to see how it does. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic week. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up. Take care, and I'll see you soon.